The Four Leaf Clover podcast is sponsored by Planet Celtic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your Wednesday Four Leaf Clover podcast. Jerry's having technical issues in the background at the minute, so hopefully he'll be with us any moment. But it's good to have our Paddy and our Kaiser. We'll start off with you, Paddy. How have you been, mate? It feels like an age since we've been on, sir.
It does, Scott. It feels as though it's like the beginning of the season for us again, but good to be back on. Just over the last 24 hours been crazy. I've been trying to see how, if it's possible to drive a motorhome from from mainland Europe over to Kazakhstan.
Don't do it.
But I don't know where it'll be possible or not. So we were looking at, we had a few brochures out looking at Bratislava, some of the most beautiful, one of the oldest cities in the world, beautiful old history, a city with great history, and we were planning a trip there. And then all of a sudden last night, one penalty kick, and we're going to Kazakhstan instead. So listen, it is what it is. We'll get to it whenever we get through the pod, but it's been an interesting few days anyway. But good to be back on, Scott.
Yeah, you're bang on, mate. It has been an interesting few days Celtic-wise, and yeah, we'll get into that Kazakhstan debacle as the show goes on. Kaiser, how are you getting on, sir?
Sweating, my man. Absolutely roasting here. Sweltering heat, but living my best life as usual. Missed being on the show. I was supposed to do the pre-game show and then a full watch along of the game, mate, and I slept in. I woke up like 10 minutes into the game, like a zombie, mate, like Walking Dead. So I missed it, and we didn't get to do the show, and then we didn't do the post-match as well. So really been missing it. Talking to get back on. Looking forward to this.
Well, we can do a wee post-match now because that is our first topic, ladies and gentlemen. So, Patrick, we gave the sheep a royal humping yet again. It's a pity we couldn't have done it in the Scottish Cup final, obviously, but Brendan seems to have this sort of voodoo sign over Aberdeen at the minute, so he does. Let's have a quick look at the starting lineup then, Paddy. Any sort of surprises in there for you? Was that what you sort of expected from Brendan to start on Sunday?
Yeah, pretty much bang on, Scott. The only debate for me was he going to try and persevere with Yang, but after James Forrest played so well in the first game, I think it was no surprise to anybody to see Jamesy starting on the wing. But again, Adam Maeda, there might have been a wee shout for Johnny Kenny or maybe even Shinya Maeda instead of Adam Maeda, but he's opted to go with Big Adam at the minute to try and, probably to try and get a few goals. We said that before. He's not the worst player in the world, but he's struggling big time for goals at the minute, and as a striker, that's just a nightmare thing to be going through. And the big man just needs a goal. He's not having any luck at all. But it was no surprise really to see it. Good to see Nygren getting a game, even though it's at the expense of my man Arnie. But he's doing very well, and he's another quality player to have in the squad. So no surprises for me, Scott.
Yeah, and were you one of the guys that picked Trusty instead of Scales as well? Because I know there was a split in the panel the other night. Oh no, you weren't on, were you?
I wasn't on, no.
You weren't on. It was two of the guys picked Trusty and two of the guys picked Scales. Yeah. And I said, well, Scales was pretty much man of the match in the game before, so why are you dropping Scales? And again, I think we should touch on this tonight, Paddy, at some point. Trusty, Engels and Ida, £26 million, and two of them again sat on the bench.
Yeah, and that's the argument, Scott. That's the and you might not like it. Many of us don't. We would like to see money being spent on players coming in, but when you look at it from how the board might be looking at it, and I'm not saying they are definitely looking at it this way, but they very well may be looking at it. They're looking at it from a budgetary point of view, and they're thinking, well, we gave you 26 million last summer to buy these three players, and two of them can't even get into the team, and the other one is couldn't hit a barn door at the minute. So there may be a wee bit of an element of that. Brendan doesn't have the greatest track record with signing, Scott. He doesn't. If you look even over his first period as well, some of the signings were hit and miss. But I still maintain that I think the board don't want to really invest any more money until they see that they're definitely going to be in this group stage. And I suppose from that point of view, you can't really fault them for that. But And there are a lot of players who will be waiting for the same thing as well. There'll be a lot of players that will be sitting back there just waiting to see, right, let's see what the final makeup of the Champions League is going to be. Players want to go to Champions League clubs. It's as simple as that. So we should have that to get through into the group stages. We should have that over a lot of other teams. So, well, you're bang on with that point, and it's something that we've talked about recently. You know, that was quite a considerable expense for a club like Celtic to shell out 26 million on 3 players. You know, and they're basically just saying, well, you know, these guys, you know, they were your signings, they were the guys you wanted, and they're not in the team. So you're spot on to raise that one.
Yeah, bang on. And I sent Charlie Mulgrew a message. I seen he was on Instagram at the Oasis concert. I put in his comments, you still fancy either for top goal scorer for the SPFL? You're fucking having a laugh, sir. Jerry, good to see you, sir. How are you getting on? Is the Lecky bill been paid?
Sorry, lads, I've got new Wi-Fi coming, so I don't know what it's going to be like tonight. I think it might be dodgy for a couple of days, so I've got new Wi-Fi coming into my other room, so I can go out here and get into a better room, mate. So I'm hoping it's all right tonight. It's all good here, Scott. Sorry I was late, boys. It's not like me. I don't like to be late for anything. I always like to be.
No worries.
10
No
minutes
worries,
early.
mate. What are you thinking of that starting lineup then, mate, for the Aberdeen game? Any surprises in there for you, pal?
No, I think that was the exact team I went for, Skills, didn't I? I went for Skills the other night, Scott.
Yeah.
As I said, what do we talk about Skills and that? I don't know, I like to chop and change that. If you're going to have a bad few games, then fine, be it. But see this one bad game, then changing it, no. Especially a centre-backs. I'd like to see a settled defence there, mate. But the team is spot on for me, I think. So it was. I think that's about the best way. Knew Forrest was going to come in after Dane Mill coming off the bench. So I think the team is spot on, mate. So it was.
And what about Maeda? Do you know, fancy maybe moving Maeda into the centre and starting a winger instead of Ida, mate? Because he's just been woeful, hasn't he?
Aye, listen, it's a hard one. See, we try to criticise the guy too much. He's obviously desperate for that goal, but I know Rodgers is not going to do it, but I think the best thing for Ida would be with just 2 up front, somebody beside him, Scott, and he's not going to do that. See, I seen him flicking the ball on Sunday, and I'm thinking to myself, who are you flicking the ball onto? There's nobody beside you. To be a wee bit fair for him, James Forrest and Maeda, they're away out there, and he does in here himself. But on top of that, listen, there's just no going for him. I watch him closely. Scott, as you say, I played up front near that guy's standard of football, but I still think I watched wee Forrest get to the byline at one point, and you know yourself if he's going to make the cross, Scott, because he's not going to get much power in it. He's going to play it in the front post if he gets it.
Yeah.
But Maeda was still sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
He's still not making that run. I don't know if it's ball watching or just not anticipating the mistake of getting in there first. I don't know. Listen, I hope he gets a couple of goals and gets going, but I know it's not looking good for him. It's been very frustrating, and I don't think he's going to change to a 4-4-2 or anything like that to help him out. I think he'd be better in a 2, somebody beside him, right close to him, but Rodgers is not going to do that, mate. So, frustrating times for him, but what do we do now? We've not really got that striker to come in now and take care of it. Hopefully that changes the next couple of days, mate.
Hopefully, Nygren's an option as well. We could put him up there and bring Engels back into the fray. There is options, or maybe Maeda, and there's lots of things. But listen, that's why Brendan gets the pop stars wages. Kaiser, we'll get into the game in a minute, mate. But just the starting lineup first, sir. Any sort of surprises in there for you, mate?
Well, I thought he was going to go with Trusty this time and rotate it a bit. And I thought he would play Nygren out on the right wing and bring Engels back in because we want him firing really for the European games. But as you said yourself, mate, that's why Brendan gets the big bucks in it and I don't. That's why I'm on YouTube and he's in the dugout.
Anything else in there, mate, that sort of surprised you?
No, really, mate. And as the boys have highlighted and hit on, bang on with Big Adam Maeda, I don't want to be over-critical with him. I think sometimes there is that time with strikers where the manager tries to stick with him and give him a run in the squad and really get him firing, get him hitting goals. But the boys are highlighting as well exactly what I think about him. He's nodding the ball on, he's nodding the ball down, and there's nobody to nod it down to. And he does cut an isolated figure as well. That's spot on as well. I see Brendan try to rectify that with pushing Hatate further forward, right on top of like try to get in there almost as a second striker. And every now and again, you've got Maeda who comes inside, he inverts. He's like an inverted winger, and he pushes into that secondary striker role to allow Kieran Tierney the space on the wing. But other than that, mate, no, quite happy with how we played, how we done.
Okay, mate. So, Paddy, let's get into the game. I've highlighted our result, and I like to keep the wee teams involved in when I put the results up as well, mate. So, I thought I'd put a couple of mid-table teams in as well, just to have a wee look at as well. So, have a wee look at that, mate. What is it you're thinking there of the first half and the second half of the Celtic game? So, Negrin got us off to a fantastic start. Nice wee goal, mate, on the 27th minute. And then Rio Hatate with a sublime effort from start to finish, really. The goal was absolutely brilliant. Just gives your thoughts on the whole performance, mate, really.
I thought on the whole, Scott, it was a thoroughly professional performance from us. No great frills and thrills, but, we went out there, we got the job done. Petrodi's a very difficult place to go to. And we went out there and we did a very professional job. We had to weather a wee bit of pressure from Aberdeen earlier on, but that's going to be expected with the crowd behind them and stuff like that. But I think we had good control of the game right through. My takeaways from the first half was I thought Kieran Tierney was outstanding. I thought Tierney really showed his qualities in the first half up and down the wing. Is there an argument there that maybe Dyson Maeda doesn't really look happy at the minute? As Kieran and him getting in each other's way there up on the left hand side, maybe Dyson will be happier in the middle there. That's what I thought we would have done earlier than we did it. I thought they would have shifted Media into the middle and put somebody else on the wing. But Tierney was outstanding in that first half. And special mention too for McGregor and Negrin in the first half too. They had the game by the scruff of the neck in the middle of the field, and we sort of restricted Aberdeen to wee breakaways and stuff like that there. The other thing in the first half, I lost count of the number of wee petty niggly fouls Aberdeen were getting away with. They were leaving the boot in here, and they were leaving the boot in there. The handball one was ridiculous, just right in front of John Beaton. And it could have led to a very dangerous situation there. But no, we had total control, and that's what you're wanting. You're wanting to see something. You're wanting the breakthrough being made in 26, 27 minutes in. The breakthrough comes. Brilliant from Tierney. Just showed the man a clean pair of heels down the wing. Lovely ball cut back, and there's exactly what we're lacking at the minute. We're lacking that player bursting into the box from the middle of the field, and Negrin provides that. And it was a nice, tidy finish from him, and well deserved. And we were 1-0 up at that stage. I don't like to say we were coasting, but we were totally in control. The only thing I didn't like about the first half was Liam Scales, who was absolutely outstanding in the opening game. Yeah, his passing in the first half was so far off the mark, it was unreal. Like we were just, we found ourselves just sitting looking at each other, and Jerry and me were even talking in the group chat about it. And I mean the two players I would have yanked at half time would have been Scales and Hatate. They were the two, but again, then you go into the second half, we're in control, but you're never really sort of comfortable while it's still only 1-0. And then Rio does what he does, and as I said to Jerry in the group chat, that's why we're on the podcast, and Brendan is getting the decision. Like, what do we know? That's what Hatate can give you. Just absolute quality. If you see the slow motion replay again of the actual space that he had to hit there, just between the goalkeeper's hand and the top corner, he literally threaded the eye of a needle there. Just wonderful finish there into the top corner. And you just kind of knew that once the second goal went in, that was game over. Aberdeen looked very deflated, and they just looked like a beaten side. And it was nice to see Brendan being able to make a few changes and bring a few guys on, but I don't know, Maeda, just for me, it's just I feel sorry for the big guy. Like, he's trying too hard. He's getting to that stage now where he's trying very, very hard, and he's trying really too hard. Like, it's just everything, Scott. His touch, his control, like everything. The ball's bouncing away from him. He can't seem to bring. He brings it down, and another defender takes it from him. He doesn't see him. But for me, the biggest thing about Maeda is, as Jerry said, there's a couple of times that happened that it doesn't seem to have that killer instinct to get in where it hurts, and in round the penalty, but somewhere between the penalty spot and the 6-yard line. That's where you want him. He's standing, as Jerry said, he's not on his toes. That's the problem with him. He's not sharp. He's not You know, he's not on his toes. He's not reacting. He's being reactive and not proactive. You know, I mean, there's some of the balls that are coming in, Tierney on the left and James Forrest on the right, and Negron put a couple of great balls in as well. You know, and Adam Maeda just looks as though he's in the wrong place, and I think that's just down to confidence with him. You know, so look, let's just hope with Falkirk on Friday night, and then with this other European game, let's just hope the big man can get a goal or a couple of goals and get him off and running, because I really do think that would make a hell of a difference to him. But no, it was comfortable enough, Scott. As visits to Pittodrie go, it was probably as comfortable as we've had for quite some time. We were never really in any danger at all. You know, like big Carter Vickers, I thought was outstanding at the back. Trusty when he came on, even when Liam Scales moved out to left back, he did very, very well, because the guy Morris that they brought on is an absolute flying machine. But no, we saw the game out really well, and it was just a thoroughly professional job from us.
Certainly was, mate. I thought we played really, really well on Sunday. I think one of the things that I noticed on the group chat, I've got a pallet here for Saltcoats at the minute, Jerry Big Stevie Fitzpatrick. So I was in Gibraltar with him on Sunday after the game. And I was trying to have a quick look at the group chat and try to have some interaction with us, but I was so busy on Sunday, it was unreal, man. And I think one of the things you kept talking about was our corner kicks again, for and against. Yeah, you know, you're hiding behind the couch again, mate. We spoke about it quite a bit last season. It seems to be same again this season. What are they doing, man?
It seems just a waste of time having a corner. We just, in other teams, I don't know, was it Hearts? I think Hearts were playing Dundee United on Sunday. I think they get two goals, but every corner Hearts were dangerous. We're just no dangerous at corners at all. I don't know what goes on in the training ground. They know better than us. But listen, I would say still a good 3 points. Get up to Pittodrie. So Paddy says a lot of stuff there spot on. Pittodrie's, I know we've been undefeated. Was it 17 times now or something up there? I don't know if that was the guy was saying, but Pittodrie's still a hard place to go to, and that's out the way. And we've been up there, and listen, I think we've won that game. No disrespect to Aberdeen, but they huffed and puffed. I think we won that game in second gear, Scott, to be fair. Yeah. I think that's one of the easiest games we've ever had up at Pittodrie, to be fair. I know with good results, 5-1 and stuff, but for football-wise, I felt it never. We're always uncomfortable, so we were. But listen, I was hanging there, Paddy saying, Tierney, I mean, 20 just turned 28. I mean, getting this guy back up the road is an unbelievable bit of business. I know he's Celtic daft through and through, but he could have went elsewhere, and you just watch him going up and down there, Paddy, and all. I mean, he's just going to get stronger and stronger every week. He really excites me. He's back here now. Tierney's just off for Celtic, and I said, what a signing. What a signing. But as I say, I was happy with the performance. Still, it's bad. The strikers still a bit hanging on goals wise. We're sitting at 1-0 to attack. Gets that goal, then you know the game's over. Because you start to think about the cup final again. At that 1-0 game, Scott. One chance Aberdeen going to get. But no, Aberdeen puffed and puffed. They didn't hang me at all. But I like the boy Negrin. I think everybody knows how good he is. He takes the ball when there's players around him. He helps other players out when you do that. He doesn't hide. He's brave. He'll get. I think he'll get over 10 goals, no problem this year for us. You can see him now. He's fitting in well. Looks a great signing. So he does. But I think you get a lot of good signings for Sweden. So the work ethic and so I'm looking forward to seeing him all year. And it's Barry Big Scales. Big Scales is one of the guys I think, Scott, when he gets time, that's when he gives the ball away. A bad pass. See when he's under pressure and makes that last stop tackle. He's brilliant. He's no time to think. He just makes that tackle, wins that ball, brilliant. But see when it comes time, he brings the ball, does a wee bit of time. He goes that wee bit 5 yards and goes another 5. You just feel he's going to give the ball away. So hopefully he sorts that out. But I was happy with the performance. So I was, especially Pittodrie. As I say, hopefully we're just going to get stronger, hopefully, the next few weeks before this window shuts.
Aye, it's certainly glaring where we're missing. And talking about Negrin, I heard Paddy's been taking his Arnie Engels posters down and putting the Negrin ones up now. So I seen him. He must have sent it to the wrong person. That video that he sent taking the Arnie Engels posters down, Kaiser. What are you thinking of the actual performance then, Kaiser, on Sunday? I thought the boys played really well. Second goal especially was a belter. Aye, there's a case for Scales. Been off it a wee bit with his passing, especially. Ida, how he got 60, 70 minutes again is beyond me. Just absolutely useless. And but the midfield for me were outstanding. We Jamesy Forrest put in a good shift as well. He was on fumes at the end. Just give us your overall thoughts on the game, mate, and the goals, etc.
Yeah, I thought we played really well, mate. Never really got out of second gear. We didn't really need to go through the gears. Game was stunted in spells. You see all the bookings there by cheating, beating, as per usual. Absolute rat bag. A lot of wee ragtag fouls and that given away. And as you says, mate, James Forrest was fantastic, really winding back the clock, turning back the years. Delighted with the performance in the Gren. I noticed in the game before at Paradise, he was against that low block and he was kind of running into a brick wall really for him. It was a hard debut match at Paradise for him. He didn't really impress after impressing thoroughly in pre-season, but he was on it yesterday, arriving into the box, scoring goals for midfield. Real Hatate strike, absolutely thunderous strike right into the tap bin. Aberdeen's keeper's quite a good keeper. He's quite good shot stopper on that. I remember Maeda as well came in, yeah, cross him and almost finishes, and Mitov, I think it is, on it. Done really well. But for us, I thought a fair performance for Celtic. No anything that I would like higher than fire the DVDs out, I wouldn't be burning copies of it, but Hatate's goal, definitely a contender for goal of the month. There was another couple of goals in the league as well that I watched, and obviously had a wee dabble into the European football last night, watching us confirming our opponents, but we'll talk about that later, obviously. Aye, for me, I thought Brendan would be bringing Engels in and getting them firing. I don't think Paddy should be putting any posters away just yet. Just stop kissing them the night. get a wee Negron one up there on the fridge, a wee fridge magnet as well, mate. But aye, I thought we were good, mate. As I say, I think with the way we played, we've still got. It's clear to see, mate, that we could go through the gears there. Still got the makings of a very, very good squad, the framework yet, and we have a couple of quality additions. Another 3 or 4 players coming in there, a real quality. Will be absolutely flying. Looking to contend this year in the Champions League and hopefully go a wee step further than we went last year.
See, the beauty of being a world-class podcast presenter, Paddy, is that this thing's just came to me a couple of seconds ago there. Not one person's mentioned him in the chat. We've not mentioned him in the past 2 games. Maeda. What's going on with Maeda, Paddy? Player of the year last season. Rumours of him trying to get his ticket, work his ticket out of Celtic. What's happened to Dyson Maeda?
I don't know, Scott, but I was even, I didn't want to say too much in the first game, but he was very, very far off the pace in the St Mirren game as well. There's just something, the wee man's just not firing on all cylinders for whatever reason. As his head being turned by the speculation and all this talk of the money in the English Premier League, there's rumours that Brentford wanting to replace Mbeumo, what signed for Manchester United. So, and he's in one of those precarious positions where the club are concerned because there's probably no way that the club are going to allow him to run down his contract either. They're not going to do that. They haven't done it with anybody else. They're not going to do it with Dyson Maeda either. So he's been offered a contract, and that was sort of early part of the summer, towards the tail end of last season, early part of the summer, and he hasn't signed it. So he just looks a shadow of the player, Scott. I know sometimes it takes the players a wee day or two to get up to speed again, but he's just not firing, and he just doesn't look happy. But you know what? The other thing I saw somebody mention it the other day. Is there an argument that Maeda sees that Ida's struggling, and maybe Maeda sees him? Maeda sees himself as a striker, and maybe he would prefer to be in that striking role and let somebody else play on the left hand side along with Tierney, and let Dyson go through the middle. So maybe he's just not. He's maybe a bit cheesed off at not getting the role of striker, especially when we see that Ida. Ida has been struggling. It's not that he's just struggling now. Like Adam Ida's been struggling since he made the move permanent. He's never really scored the amount of goals that he certainly should do. So I don't know, Scott. I would hate to lose him. Jerry and me have spoke before about how important of a player he is to us. But it's like everybody said. When you see him playing on Sunday, he's only an important player if he's at it. If he's at it 100%. If he's going to be a shadow of the player he was, well then he's not much good to you. You know what I mean? So there may be a decision to be made there. I would hope that he's still here beyond the transfer window. But as James has just said there, I just get the feeling that we've said it before. These guys are human beings like everybody else. He's probably seen the stories. He's probably heard the news. He's probably been talking to his agent. You know what I mean? So again, there's been rumours going around. There was a rumour going around last week that his agent has already been told by Celtic to find a club that will pay 30 million and will let him go. You know what I mean? So I would hate to see Maeda going, but the contrast in him from last season on the first 2 games has been very stark for all to see. He's just a shadow of the player. I noticed on Sunday. There was one time he kind of lost the ball and the Aberdeen defender headed up the field and he didn't track him the way he normally does. He just gave up. It's just as if he just gave up, and that's just so unlike Dyson Maeda. So there's obviously something, Scott. But let's just hope that he gets the head screwed again, and if he signs that contract, we can at least be sure that he's committed. But that's the one thing I think we're vulnerable while the situation persists, because there's no way that the Celtic board will allow him to walk away for nothing, not when there's a potential to rake in 25 or 30 million pound. No way.
Yeah. Jerry, has he not been plugged in over the summer? Has his head been turned? He did look frustrated the first 2 games. We've seen it with Kyogo. The body language doesn't lie. We can all see it. So, I mean, what's going on with the wee man?
Listen, we're just the same as everybody else. We just guess as well. We just look in, read things, have a guess. Listen, we know what he brings to Celtic. The guy's been brilliant. Just say he scores all 8 goals last year. He starts playing through the middle. You start getting a feeling for the Scot. You start getting a feeling for the 8 goals. And all of a sudden you're shafted back out to the left. And you say you're watching Ida struggling. So maybe it's time to put him back in there if that's what it is. We'll soon find out. It gets the wee man buzzing again. He looks off at the first 2 games, but I'm not going to go too hang with the first couple of games. It's the start of a new season. We'll see how it hangs out. But on the other hand, if the wee man doesn't want to play for us, then we sell him and move on. It's simple. Hey, I don't want him to move. That's the last player I want to see move. But Celtic's got to look after Celtic, and Maeda's got to look after himself. Yeah. That's the way football goes now. We've all spoken about this, haven't we? After wee Larson leaving. MD can leave now in my eyes. It'll not bother me as much as wee Henrik, no. So that's football for you. That's the way. Nothing surprises you in football now. So I don't know what the wee man gets exactly. Somebody who's mentioned there was going to say money wise. So I don't know if I think Paddy were talking about, is it Brentford that's meant to be?
Yeah.
And these teams could be looking to buy him, give him pay 80 grand a week. What's he going to get offered at Celtic? Top 35. I'm only guessing on wee stories. But on the other hand you've watched Kyogo. Kyogo's went there and meant to go for a World Cup and not getting a game at Rennes and stuff like that. Sometimes you just be happy and be loved, and sometimes it's better than money, But that's life. So we can't make these decisions. We can only sit back and listen to the rumours like everybody else. Especially with WhatsApp now. With WhatsApp, you seem to get more rumours now than ever through the WhatsApp stuff. Yourself every day. But as I say, I'll not look too much into it. It's got a couple of games, mate. But as I say, it's near the window shut, and we'll see how it maybe plans out with the wee man's actions. But maybe it is time to put him back through the centre again. So as maybe get him, you never know, maybe Friday night, get him in there, get a few goals. But then you're hoping maybe he gets a few goals and gets that gone as well. So in the next few weeks, we'll see how it plans out, mate.
Aye, Kaiser, is he frustrated about what he's seen in the middle of the park there? All these chances and balls that he does getting and not doing anything with it? Or is his aggression levels going up because he's frustrated? Is he not tracking back so much, like Paddy said, because he's looking for a move elsewhere? He's, all these different connotations. There's a decent word for everybody there. What are you thinking, Kaiser?
I think there's a few things going on, definitely, mate, right? He's cutting a frustrated looking figure out there, maybe Kieran Tierney bombing down that wing. He had that full licence of that entire wing with Greg Taylor inverting. Just basically left Maeda out there to run savvy, and he was always working back and stuff. He doesn't need to work back as much now, and we've got a high quality left back there behind him, so he isn't really finding himself having to work back in as much, so he's trying to press and stuff forward. Like I said it before, mate, one of my friends was working within Celtic, and he came out and told me that the 3 Japanese players who were at the club, Ryo Hatate, Kyogo and Daisen Maeda had requested transfers, really being pushed by the national boss, saying he wants them to play a top 5 league. Or I think another part of that could be maybe the national bosses says to Maeda, okay, fair enough. You've seen what happened with Kyogo moving. You're not just going to jump into that top 5 league situation. You want to go to a high quality side within those leagues, Champions League side preferably. And if you're going to stay at Celtic, then you're going to be centre forward. You want to be playing centre forward because you're centre forward for your national side. So I think I'm looking at Adam Maeda and the amount of chances that Adam Maeda's getting and stuff as well. Obviously can make him frustrated as well. I've seen him kicking out at players and that, a bit of aggression for him as well. It's good to see Maeda. He's usually the guy who's picking them up after the flare and dusting them down, isn't he? So it's nice to see him putting them down in the flare. So for me, mate, I wouldn't like to lose Daisen Maeda. And Big Jerry was giving me a rick tick in the chat, wasn't he, for suggesting the Austin Powers bid of 46 million. But that's my starting price. That's,
1 billion. 1 billion, you said.
That's my starting price for Daisen Maeda. I see the price he does qualifying into the Champions League and the kind of money we would make there. That's the starting price, because that's how essential he is to me. He basically is an essential player who can get us qualification. If you want to come and take him for Celtic, starting bid starts at about 36 and up, 36 million up to 46 million, and then the Celtic board will be snapping your hand off for it. But I don't want to be getting rid of him, mate. Right? I'm not wishing any of them at the door. We've seen what Hatate contributes as well, so I'm not wishing any of them away. But he's frustrated. He's no giving his all. If his head's been turned, anything like that, no man's bigger than the club. Jerry put a nail in the head after Henrik Larsson. Never cry like that again, my man. I'll never cry like that again.
Oh.
Didn't even greet at my ma's funeral, but I was rolling greeting when Henrik left.
So it's none of us have got a clue, but yeah, it's very, very strange for the wee man so far, and I'm sure we'll see how it will pan out over the next couple of weeks. So we're only 2 games in, and I don't normally like to do these sort of things, but it's quite funny viewing, to be honest with you, so far. The SPFL Premiership table is as follows. The lads done their predictions the other week there. Hearts and Hibernian were definitely up there, and Andy, who is in Dublin tonight, he's on his way on a boat to Dublin, will be furious that Livingston are sat in 3rd position. And we've got them pretty soon as well, so Andy will be looking forward to that one. I sent him a nice wee clip of David Martindale ripping the pish out a journalist today. I don't know if you've seen it. It was quite funny, to be honest. But Celtic sit joint top with Hearts. Super Ayrshire Kelly are in 5th, and then the rest don't matter really. Anything below top 5 doesn't really matter. But after 2 games, the boys are looking good. Scored 3, conceded none, and we're on our way to number 5. Another thing we're on our way to, Patrick, is the Champions League. Our Champions League playoff opponents have now been confirmed. And you better get the bus ready, mate, because it looks like you're going to Kazakhstan, my man. So Celtic's route to the Champions League group stage has been confirmed, and it's a brutal one. The Hoops will face Kazakh side Kairat Almaty in the playoff round, with a gruelling travel schedule thrown into the mix just days before the first Glasgow derby of the season. Kairat edged through their 3rd round tie against Slovan Bratislava on penalties, winning 4-3 in Slovakia after the tie finished level on aggregate. The result means Brendan Rodgers' men must make the 12-hour journey to Kazakhstan for the second leg, a trip notorious for testing teams physically and mentally. The first leg will take place at Celtic Park on Wednesday, the 20th of August, with the decisive return match in Almaty scheduled for Tuesday, the 26th of August. That leaves Celtic less than 5 days to recover before heading across the city to face the Rangers at Ibrox in a match that could shape the early title race. There's a few teams in here that are coming up, by the way, that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, but we'll see how we get on. The fixture scheduling is far from ideal. The long-haul travel, different time zones, and the intense heat in Kazakhstan can sap energy, something Celtic have experienced before in European away days to the far east of the continent. The timing also puts added pressure on squad depth, which has also been growing concern for fans this summer. despite the high stakes, reinforcements in the transfer market have been slow to materialise. Supporters are acutely aware that missing out on the Champions League proper and the lucrative league phase is unthinkable for the club's finances and ambitions. However, with the domestic showdown looming, Rodgers will need every ounce of focus and rotation, planning to navigate both challenges. And finally, Celtic will be desperate to make home advantage count in the first leg, setting up the platforms to finish the job in Almaty. Anything less could leave the Hoops facing a dangerous uphill battle in one of football's most awkward away assignments. Patrick, it's been spelt out there for us. We need to get this tie finished in that first leg, don't we?
That's what it's all about, Scott. And people are going to town already on the journey. But, a lot of people fail to remember that they have to come to Glasgow first. So they have the journey to come here first. So that's not going to do them any favours either. So I think it's absolutely paramount that we go out. We put on a really good performance and we win this first leg by quite a few goals. Get this tie put to bed and don't leave in the chance for going out there. There's an awful lot of things to consider there. The travelling, the different time zones, the temperature. These guys have also played 19 games of their league season. They've already got 19 games. By the time we play them, Celtic will only have played 3 games, the 2 league games and the game against Falkirk on Friday night. So, there's all of that has to go into it. But I think for us, the main thing for us is we've been building up ahead of steam with the first couple of games. We have a good run out now on Friday night against Falkirk. Chance to get a good performance there in the League Cup. Give us a few days rest and recovery there, and then get in about these boys on Wednesday night. Listen, Scott, I seen a bit of the game last night. I didn't see the first one, but I saw a bit of the game last night. There were 2 very, very poor, very, very ordinary teams. I know there's an awful lot been made of, the lack of investment in the squad so far. But listen, if we don't have the quality already in the building to comfortably see off any of these 2 teams, well, then we don't deserve to be there in the first place. Like these guys are like, I would say probably maybe on a par, maybe slightly higher than a League of Ireland team. They're certainly no better than a Kilmarnock or a Ross County or any of the other lower teams in this SPFL. So if you look back to the first game against Slovan Bratislava in Glasgow last year, we went out, we played that game, we absolutely destroyed them. Arnie Engels was fantastic in one of his first games. Slotted away the penalty and just ran the midfield. And that's exactly what we need to do with these guys on Wednesday night. Just go out there, get the job done, rack up a few goals, and then maybe we can maybe make a few plans in for the second leg. We might be able to leave 1 or 2 players at home or whatever. But we need to take advantage of the first leg at Celtic Park. These boys will have very rarely played in an atmosphere like Celtic Park will provide for them on Wednesday night. So it's important that the crowd get behind the team and let's blow these guys away in the first leg and leave nothing to chance for the second leg. Because as I say, if you do leave it, then that's when the other imponderables come in. The temperature, the fact that they're maybe a bit sharper, the journey time, the time zones, all that there. If we win by a good score in the first leg, we'll nullify a lot of that threat for the second game. So the onus is on us to. We've got a chance now on Friday night again to get another good run out. Let's wrap in a few goals as well. Get big Adam Maeda firing as well. If he doesn't fire then again, well then we need to start and we need to think about playing Dyson Maeda through the middle. So the onus is definitely on us, Scott. I don't see any reason. There's nothing to suggest from either of those teams last night we would have been scared or worrying in any way, shape, or form about playing these guys on a football pitch. Not at all. It's the off the field things that might come into play. But as I say, if we go out at Celtic Park, put on a really good performance, score a few goals, and put this tie to bed, similar to what Rangers done the other night. They were 3-0 up in the first leg, and even then, even with the 3 goals, they still run into a bit of difficulties in the second leg. So listen, it's all in our own hands here. Like, we're playing at Celtic Park, we'll have a big partisan crowd, against them. These guys will maybe freeze in the atmosphere. So it's really up to Brendan to put out an attacking formation and really, really go for it in the first game. You don't need to worry about the away goals and stuff. So I'd be looking to go out here and win this 4-5 in the first leg.
Aye, Jerry. Paddy's made some great points there. He's absolutely spot on. We need to get this game killed off, mate, in this first leg. And Aye, it's just got to be done. What did you make it when you seen it was another trip to Kazakhstan for our boys?
Yeah, I obviously wanted Bratislava because of the travelling and get into the unknown. You know what you're getting with Bratislava. Bratislava's just started the league games as well, same as us. As Paddy says, Kazakhstan's 19 games. I'm a wee bit more hanging with Paddy. I don't know, going over there. I think is it right? We need to be 3 or 4-0. I don't fancy even going there be 2-0, Scott.
No.
I think we've got to be 3 or 4-0. I know this team might not be great, but they've only lost 2 at home. So they have 2 games all year. To be fair, I don't know if they're at home, but they've only lost 2 games. But it's a 4-hour time difference. And I think the game no 9:45 kick-off earlier.
Aye,
So that
it's
could
midnight
mean
finish or
that could go
something,
into
right? Aye.
11. 9:45 kick-off. It's just all the wee things you've got to think. We've got to go with that 3 to 4 goals, I think, because just to make sure that Celtic Park one's massive. Another thing that worries me as a news is the one where's the goals coming from? Because
Yep.
it more looks like the midfield now. It's going to get us the goals. So we need the strikers to pick their goals out. So that's the one thing that hangs me. The travelling, listen, Celtic players don't need to worry about the travelling. 4-hour time difference is a wee bit more than the travelling. They're not going fucking a Ryanair flight and eating 2 packs of Pringles because there's no cheese hot toasties left. So I'll be fine that way. So they'll be going in luxury, but I just think they're getting the unknown. I don't like these places. I'd prefer Bratislava like most folk, but it is what it is. But the home tie's massive. Paddy says we've got to Wednesday get Celtic Park Rotten. Hopefully they just freeze. Get the tie by me on this Wednesday.
Aye, it's something we certainly need to do, Kaiser. What were you thinking when you seen it was another trip to Kazakhstan, mate? And how are you seeing this first leg going?
Yeah, look, we need to get the business done at Paradise, mate. I never like it when it's the home game first. I always prefer the home game to be second in the tie. You'd think that would be the advantage that Celtic would be seeking, of course. It's nice to know what business you need to get done, so we need to really make sure of it in this first tie. Look, I watched them play. I watched that Kairat and Bratislava play. They weren't very high quality sides or anything like that, but they were defensively rigid. They get every man behind the ball and that, so they know if they come to Paradise and maybe frustrate us and defend solidly, they could make it an interesting tie. There's jeopardy in it anyway. There's a lot of money on the line. As Jerry says, look, players will be travelling luxury, but I think it's flights with beds on them and all that, you know what I mean, mate? Individual rooms, a wee telly and all that, absolutely sorted. They'll not be bothering about that. And I think it's something like when it's 8 p.m. kick-off here, it's like a 5-hour time difference. So that would be like midnight for them in their local time. So as much as we need to travel away over there, they need to travel away over here as well. Yeah. It's a two-legged kind of thing, you know, they need to come here as well. So they're facing the same, and they'll probably flying on with goats and that beside them, you know what I mean? Wee cages and chickens and that, full Borat style. So, but look, you can't be too disrespectful about them. They've earned their right to be playing this. They've earned their right to be there. And as people are saying, they're away over the other side of Europe, bordering China. They share borders with China and Mongolia, you know what I mean? And you're like, how are they know in the Asian Champions League? What are they doing? What are they doing in the European Champions League? It's confusing to me, mate, a long travel. And as Jerry and Paddy hinted at as well there, mate, definitely looking for a 3-4 goal lead to take over there. We know how Celtic can fall apart over there in the heat and that. But I think we've got until the 14th, I believe, to bring in another 2 bodies that we can register for this tie. So if the board could make that happen, alleviate a bit of stress on everybody, maybe a left winger and a right winger, or a big striker, bring in somebody who's good with the head, you know, who can shore us up a wee bit for the corners at the back and get head on them up front. I'd be liking that, mate. A big Jan Vennegoor or a Hesselink, get somebody in like that. But look, we just need to get the business done, mate. It's simple as that.
We certainly do. And one of the things that our Patrick picked up on, I think he bloody reads my notes, by the way, he must have. So the gap between the sides on paper, Paddy is bang on, by the way, with the sort of standard of Kairat Almaty. So they're currently ranked 311th in UEFA's club coefficient ranking with a rating of 35,000. Celtic are currently ranked 56 in UEFA's club coefficient ranking with a rating of 35,000. This means the Kazakhs are 255 places below Celtic in the current UEFA standings. To put that into context, Kairat Almaty has the same UEFA coefficient points as Crusaders and Derry City, and fewer UEFA coefficient points than the likes of Larne, Linfield, Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, the New Saints, Shamrock Rovers and St Patrick's. Well, never underestimating your opponent, as our Kaiser just said, there should be absolutely no excuse for not qualifying for the UEFA Champions League phase. So that gives everybody a sort of, a look at the sort of level where this team are on paper. But as we know, football's not played on paper. And I've got some Champions League playoff stats here as well for everybody, because obviously we've been in this position before, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got a bit of a home fortress. We've only lost once in 10 Champions League playoff home legs at Celtic Park, and that was that 2-0 game against Malmo in 2015. Our Kazakhstan record, I've seen a few years trying to pitch up the Kazakhstan teams. We're actually unbeaten against Kazakh sides Astana with 3 wins and 1 draw, scoring 13 and conceding 3. Our biggest win was a 5-0 home leg over Astana in 2017, led to their biggest playoff aggregate victory of 8-4. In the highest scoring edge, Celtic have scored 3+ goals in over half of their Champions League playoff home matches. So Patrick, on paper, we should be thrashing this mob.
Absolutely, Scott. If we were playing a team with those kind of statistics, who were based in Hungary or based in Belgium or based in wherever, we wouldn't even be concerned ourselves. It's just the fear of the unknown, the pitfalls of the journey time and the traveling and all that nonsense that goes into that. But as I say, I know that you would ideally like the second leg at home, but on this occasion, I'm actually pleased that we're playing the first leg at home, because it really does give us a chance to blow these guys away in the first game and lay down a marker for the second game. Just leave the second game as a fixture that just needs to be fulfilled. Simple as that. Go out, get the job done, and say, if we were playing, you look at the list of teams there. If we were playing any of those teams, you'd be expecting to win and win comfortably at Celtic Park. So as I said, as Kaiser said, that people need to remind themselves that the journey time is going to be the same for both teams, and they are going to have to make the journey first. So they're going to have to come out of their comfort zone and travel away over here with all the demands that means for them. So that could be a factor for them in the first game at Celtic Park. And as I say, like Slovan Bratislava for me were a far better side last year. And when you see the way we played against them in the first game, we were absolutely fantastic. Probably the best maybe we played in that competition last year. In that first game, we were sensational. Brilliant performances from Big Liam Scales, from Arne Engels. We were just sensational in that first game. So that's what we need to be looking at, Scott. That's really what we need to be looking at. The object of the exercise here is not to worry too much about how we get the job done. Just get the job done. That's what it is. The carrot is there for everybody. You could be this tie. These 2 games could be worth 50-60 million to a club like Celtic. So that's what's at stake here. So it's just really important that the players go out. If we go out and we do a really professional job and we prepare the way we have done for every other game, and Brendan has us ready, I honestly don't see there's any issues whatsoever. I can see us winning comfortably. And for me, I'll be looking at big Adam Maeda, this Friday night against Falkirk. If he's not firing after that game, I'd be thinking, right, we need to try Dyson Maeda in the middle against the Kazakhs on Wednesday night, because we need to go for goals in this first game. As I say, that's the beauty of the away goals being removed. You don't need to worry so much about losing a dodgy one at the other end if you can go out and score a few goals at the other end. But when you look, this team don't score a lot of goals, Scott. I've seen the highlights and I've seen the scores of the games in the early rounds. They don't score an awful lot of goals. The young lad that scored the penalty in the first leg against Bratislava, apparently he's very tasty. He's only 16 years of age. I think it's Sarpsev or something you call him.
Chelsea, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing him at Celtic Park in the big atmosphere, just to see what he can do, see what kind of a player he is. He's very, very highly rated out there. But they don't score an awful lot of goals home or away. They're a very low scoring team. So listen, I honestly don't think we'll have any problems at all. I don't see, or I certainly don't foresee many problems. Celtic Park, big European night. The atmosphere will be crackling. The atmosphere will be electric. The crowd will be on to them from day one, and I can see us winning quite comfortably in the first leg and just making the second leg a formality, Scott.
Yeah, let's hope you're right, mate. And there was a wee comment here, Jerry, about it's 30 degrees plus out there. Kaiser's got his Rapsy Nisbet string vest on tonight, Christ. It's 35 degrees in Govan. It's not going to be an issue for our boys out there. But Jerry, another thing. The little thing that I put up earlier about the League of Ireland sides, that's their sort of level on the coefficients. If we get paired against a League of Ireland side in this playoff tie, we wouldn't be asked. It's just because they're for Kazakhstan that we're bothered, isn't it?
Jerry here today, mate.
Jerry's Wi-Fi's right. Guys, you answer that one. We'll come back to Jerry.
I no problem, mate. Sorry, I don't know if Jerry's trying to get in there. Mate. No, I don't know if it's away, Jerry. As it's crashing, my man. I'll just grab this point and we're in, right, mate?
Go for it.
I think it is just it's the travel in it, mate, and the logistical side of it. That's what we're worried about. We have seen Celtic go away to places like Lincoln Red Imps and that and fall apart. And if you remember that Astana game, we were 5 goals up in the first leg and we went away there and we were 4 goals down at one point. You know what I mean? It was squeaky bum time getting over there. They were coming right back into it. Celtic do have that, and they have that ability sometimes to capitulate. So you need to make sure that we get it done in this first leg. And spot on, mate. Yeah, if we were playing a League of Ireland side, nobody would be sweating it at all because it's just a hop, skip, and a jump across the water in it. It's chicken feed, but a journey to the other side of the world, it poses all the dangers that go with that in it, mate. The travel, the sickness, the local food, the bugs, whatever. I'm sure the squad will be well prepared for all of it, mate. Take their own food, in training camp, they'll acclimatise. I'd like to see us go over there a couple of days early and get a bit of acclimatisation and about it, but I don't know how feasible that is. I know we're no delaying our tie against Livingston in between the games, and we're going to Mordor as well. So, and I think they're delaying one of their games as well. So it's already -4 here in Ibrox, mate. Never mind 31 degrees in Glasgow, you know. And there's possibilities being even further ahead come after the Ibrox derby game, you know. So I'm just looking for us to go into this all cylinders firing. And the only thing that I'm more worried about, mate, is the goals. Is Maeda going to be there? Sorry, talking about other teams being low scoring. We're pretty low scoring myself right now. So I don't want it to be in jeopardy. I want to, as people are hinting at in the chat as well, get big Maeda through the middle. Get fucking Maeda a seat in the bench, you know what I mean, and bring him on. I think he works better as an impact player when he comes on late in the game and that. He just never seems to apply himself the way he should. He's got all the physical attributes to be a destroyer, but he just doesn't put his face in where it hurts. As Paddy says, he doesn't get in where it hurts. He isn't attacking the ball. He isn't looking like that bit of hiding in there sometimes as well. But hopefully we can just get it done, mate. It's just business. Get down to business, respect your opponents, and get it done. Simple as that, my man.
Bang on, mate. Bang on. And Jerry, you back with us, or is the Wi-Fi still giving you jip?
Jip it is.
Scott, I just wanted to, I know people are making an awful lot of this, the traveling and stuff, and it is a hell of a journey. I spoke to guys who were out there the last time, and it's a hell of a journey. But as Jerry touched on earlier, Celtic will be chartering a plane here. This is not a Thomas Cook holiday. Celtic will be going on. This will be luxury. They'll be going on. These guys will be well looked after, and I'm a great believer in you play the game in front of you. Listen, the Falkirk game on Friday night, the European game on Wednesday night, when we finally manage to play them away from home and we come back to play Rangers at Ibrox on Sunday, play the game in front of you and worry about the game in front of you. Don't be worrying too far about who we're playing on the Sunday afterwards. We'll just play the game that's in front of us, and that game at Ibrox will take care of itself as it always does. It's too early in the season to be worrying win, lose or draw. Obviously, you want to go there and lay down a marker either, but listen, it's that game. That game will not have any bearing on the outcome of the championship this year. It's far too early in the season to be looking at that. So for me, the important game now for us is always the next one. Falkirk on Friday night. You want to get into the next round of the cup. No injuries. A good few days for Brendan to prepare the squad and all for the first leg against the Kazakhs at Celtic Park, and then go out and put on a performance against them, and then we can take care of Livingstone and that after that before we worry about Kazakhstan again. But I wouldn't be worrying too much about that journey home. The Celtic players will be travelling home in luxury. We'll be home in really good time. We'll actually have an extra day. Rangers will be playing a day after us as well, so we'll actually end up with an extra day's preparation. And these are all thoroughly seasoned professionals. These guys will be used to recovering and resting up and all the rest of it. So Brendan will have the team ready for Ibrox. But as I say, just let's take it one game at a time and play the next game in front of us. And at the minute, we're looking at Falkirk on Friday night, and we'll not look too far forward after that.
Yeah, Jerry has left for Kazakhstan, and he's on the coast, and he's out in a dressing, so he's just getting into the water as we speak, and he's going to make his way over there. And Paddy, can you stop mentioning Livingston, please? Because Andy will be wrecking the inside of his lorry as we speak as well. Aye, James has got it there. I'm looking forward to Andy's rant as well on the podcast before we. I think Andy will need to take the right half there as well. He'll burst some blood vessels, I think, when we get on to that. But Paddy is bang on. We're here to talk about the next opponents. We won't have our usual podcast on Friday night. We're just going to go into the post-match so everybody can watch the game, because we do have a tie, and it is the Premier Sports Cup fixture against Falkirk, which we're going to speak about now. It's at 7:45 kick-off at Celtic Park. Falkirk haven't really had that good a start to the season as I thought they would. I thought they'd maybe be up there where Livingston are at the minute, but they've faltered a wee bit as we speak. Look at the other ties. Morton against Aberdeen, Partick against Ayr. Good luck. Oh, that's the two Celtic managers, isn't it? The ex-Celtic managers actually playing against each other there. St Johnstone, Motherwell, St Mirren, Hearts, the Rangers are at home to the Alloa, who are always cheating, remember? And Kilmarnock against Dundee United. And then Andy's Livingston are at home to the mighty Hibernian. So a couple of tasty ties in there. I think the St Mirren Hearts one sort of stands out for me. Mark Wilson will be taking on Scott Brown. Partick Thistle against Ayr United as well. So a couple of tasty ties in there first, Paddy. And then let's have a wee chat about Celtic Falkirk as well. Who are you thinking Brendan's starting 11 is going to be for that game, mate? Are you giving Ida a run out? Are you giving Kenny, Maeda? Osman scored for the B team as well. He scored a wee goal. So, I mean, there's options. Do you see a sort of youthful team? Or is he going to have a look at players that he's maybe thinking of starting in Kazakhstan against the team for Kazakhstan?
I think because it's so early in the season, Scott, I think players are still trying to get the sharpness and the fitness levels required. I don't see him making many changes. He'll go strong to get the job done. We will obviously give a few guys a run once the tie's secured, but we need to learn the lessons of last. We tried that with Falkirk, before, and we saw what we had to do. We had to call the big guns from the bench to turn the game around. Maeda being one of them as well, by the way. Let's remember he came on and scored a couple. So no, I think for this one, Scott, I think this is a prime example. This will be a great opportunity to get him, no disrespect to John McGlynn and to Falkirk, but this is a prime opportunity for Big Adam to get off the mark here. We should be doing everything we can to try and get the big man a couple of goals, because I do believe a lot of it's confidence with him. That's what it is. Strikers like to score goals. They, you'll hear guys interviewed after the game and they'll always say it's about the team, but Jerry will tell you from being a striker before, a striker wants to score goals. They're not happy unless they're scoring. They want to be the main man. They want to be scoring, and it'll be killing Big Adam at the minute not to be producing the goods. So I think he'll go fairly strong again because it's early in the season. He'll put out probably the strongest lineup he can put out to go for it at the start. Get the job done, and then maybe give a few guys a run to get minutes into the legs. because the game after that then is the important one. And you've got the likes of Luke McCowan, you've got Bernardo, you've got Arne Engels, you've got Yamada. You've got Big Trusty. You've got one or two guys there that, they haven't had an awful lot of minutes. So the quicker that we can get the tie secured against Falkirk, the quicker they can get these guys on and give them a run out. Because the one thing that Brendan does want for Wednesday night's game, he'll want guys for more or less firing on all cylinders. He'll not want to have to worry about fitness and stuff like that. So I can see him going strong, and I can see a comfortable win for us there. But the other one that jumps out at me, Scott, is just after the start that they've had is Morton against Aberdeen. I would hazard a guess that Jimmy Tilleen is probably dreading that tie there at the minute. That's a massive banana skin for Aberdeen at the minute. The way the Dons have started the season, they've lost their first 2 games. They really do seem to be struggling. They were, fair enough, we did well, but I thought they were generally poor against us. When I saw the second half of the game against Hearts. They were very, very poor in that game. Fortunate to get off the way they did. So I can see that being a really, really tough tie for the Dons there. And again, something happens in that tie there. Jimmy Tilleen, after only 3 games into the season, he could be under severe pressure there. But no, I think Brendan will go strong, Scott. I think he'll go strong to go out, learn the lessons of what happened before, not make so many changes, get the job done, get into the next round, and then we can put a few players on the second half and give them a run out. But for me, I would love to see Big Ida getting off the mark against Falkirk, and then give the likes of Maeda, give the likes of Yamada, give those guys a run in the second half to see if we can get them off the mark as well.
Aye, Jerry's bang on. Friday night football is better than a Sunday at 12. And he said his hamster's called Maeda, and it's just refusing to run anymore as well. So.
His hamster was called Maeda. His internet would be soaring, mate. On that gigafast service, wouldn't he?
Kaiser, what sort of side do you think Brendan Rodgers is going to put out on Friday night? Are you resting players? Paddy touched on it perfectly. Last season we tried that, and it got a bit hairy for a good 60 minutes until we brought the big boys on. A few lineups have came in. What are you sort of thinking, and what sort of score are you looking at as well?
I think we're going to go strong. I think we'll go full strength. Definitely the start of the game, as Paddy was alluding to there. Full strength, get the tie sewed up, get in about it. Falkirk like to come out and play. They're not really that like to sit back and defend. See us getting a good result there. 3-4-0 maybe. And Brendan 3-0 up, and Brendan will start ringing the changes, protecting people like James Forrest, getting Yang on, protecting Maeda and that. I'd like to see him wrap them up in cotton wool for this next game coming up after that game. But you need to look at the next game on the cards, and it's Friday night football at Paradise, isn't it, mate? It's got to be fantastic. I might be getting access to a wee ticket for that one as well, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm certainly hope to get a wee look at Yamada and that as well. Hopefully Brendan gets him on. It's nice to know we've got options to explore there. I think Brendan's he's been intelligent with his playing staff, mate. He's managing the squad. He's keeping these guys on the back burner and keeping them out of the squad. I think just kind of emphasise that he's still looking for a left backup, and a left winger, a right winger, and a striker. I think he's still. We've heard them say like Poozy coming in was the last of our central defenders coming in. I think he's still looking for the left back cover, but it seems to be up top that he's looking for all the reinforcements. So let's hope the board smash into the old biscuit tin. Now we're on this tie's coming up. The board just break right into that biscuit tin and start getting us in the players that Brendan's after. Put a smile on the manager's face. The team will put a smile on the fans' face on Friday night. Looking forward to it, mate. I think we'll do well. 3-0, as I say, it's 3-0. I think we'll go full strength. The same team we started against Aberdeen with.
Oh, so Kaiser's gone 3-0. What are you saying to it, Paddy?
I'm going to go one better and say we'll go 4-0. I'm going to go for 4-0, and I want to see Big Ida getting off the mark. So 4-0 and Adam Ida to score.
Lovely. So that's us, ladies and gentlemen. The lads will be back with you on Friday night for a post-match show. Everybody enjoy the game, and then we'll be on straight after to have a wee chat with you about it. Hopefully Jerry's hamster gets plugged in before Friday night, and he'll be with us as well, as will our Andy. Thank you so much, Paddy. Thank you so much, Kaiser, and thank you so much, Jerry, as well, mate, for jumping on too. That's us. If you haven't watched this podcast before, this is your first time, please like, share and subscribe. We're absolutely flying at the minute. I think we've had over 100 new subs, over the past few weeks. We're really smashing it up. And it doesn't matter who's on the podcast, who's presenting the podcast, whatever. You know, you're getting a top class show here. Whoever's in the hot seat and whoever's on the panel, you're always going to get top quality from the lads. Thank you so much. Thank you so much in the chat as well. We'll see you all on Friday night. Have a blessed couple of days, and hail, hail.
Hail, hail, guys.
Legends.
With the folded clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, 'cause they play football